Hi everyone! In this video, we're going to cover the 4 governmental controls on ownership in real property. My name is Trevor Hubbard. I'm an adjunct professor at the University of San Diego, a senior review appraiser at the United States Navy and Marine Corps, and I have an MAI, SRA, and AI GRS designation from the Appraisal Institute. I want to reach the largest audience as possible, so if you could hit the like button, I would be ever so grateful. Before I jump right into the 4 governmental controls on ownership, we will briefly cover the bundle of rights in real property. I have created a separate video that focuses much more in detail on the bundle of rights, and I've included a link at the end of this video. In this first section, we're going to cover the bundle of rights in real property. This will be a brief description because I'm going to dedicate an entire video to this topic alone. The bundle of rights is a metaphor to represent the real property rights in land. In an appraisal, a particular set of real property interests are what are being valued, not the real estate. Now, I want you to imagine all of these individual rights in land as sticks. When these sticks or rights are combined, a bundle of rights in land is created, hence the name. When a private citizen possesses all of the potential rights in real property, that complete bundle of rights is what is known as fee simple estate or fee simple interest. These sticks or rights can be transacted in the marketplace. These rights have potential value and can be appraised. Over time, these sticks or rights in land can be separated or reassembled. The U.S. Constitution guarantees private enjoyment of these rights, subject to limitations, which brings us to the next section of this video. In this next section, we're going to cover in detail the 4 governmental controls on ownership. As we discussed, fee simple estate represents the maximum number of rights or sticks that a private citizen can own in the bundle of rights in land. Now, there are 4 sticks that a private citizen can never own. The 4 rights reserved by the government include taxation, eminent domain, police power, and finally, Escheat. Taxation is the first stick reserved by the government and is defined in the Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal as the right of government to raise revenue through assessments on valuable goods, products, and rights. In real property, this revenue is generated through assessments, which is known as ad valorem tax. Ad valorem is Latin, and the English translation means according to the value. Ad valorem tax is defined in the Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal as a tax levied in proportion to the value of the things being taxed, exclusive of exemptions, use value assessments, provisions, and the like. The property tax is an ad valorem tax. Interestingly, the U.S. Constitution precludes the federal government from taxing real property directly. That right is reserved to the state and local governments, such as state, county, districts, and municipal entities. Be that as it may, real property may be subject to federal income tax if sold. Certain properties are tax exempt, such as government-owned properties, schools, religious groups, and public lands, such as parks. Private citizens must pay assessments on their real property. You know what I'm about to say, death and taxes. The assessed value of each real estate parcel is determined by an assessor. Property owners who disagree with the assessor's value can file a tax assessment appeal. Real estate appraisers are often retained in these disputes over the assessed value. The procedure for appealing assessments depends on the location of the subject property. Each county and each state in these United States have a different process. Tax assessment appeals can be made to the assessor, the Board of Equalization, or the tax court. When an appeal is successful, the property owner can enjoy a reduction in assessments for a period of time. When a property owner fails to pay their property taxes, that property will go into default. When this happens, the property will be auctioned unless the assessments are paid in full. This process is called redemption. Redemption is the right of the property owner to reclaim the property within a specified period of time. Unless the real estate taxes are paid during the redemption period, the property will be auctioned to the highest bidder. Eminent domain is the second stick reserved by the government and is defined in the Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal as the right of government to take private property for public use upon the payment of just compensation. The dictionary goes on to say, the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, also known as the Takings Clause, guarantees payment of just compensation upon appropriation of private property. The intention of this extraordinary power is to allow the government to take private property for the greater good. Yes, I just made a Hot Fuzz movie reference because I'm awesome. The right of eminent domain can be exercised by a governmental agency or an agency that is acting under the authority of the government, such as a school district, a park district, or a right-of-way agency, to name a few. The process of exercising the power of eminent domain is called condemnation. During the condemnation process, the government will first offer to purchase the property from the owner. This is because it is vastly preferable that the property owner would sell their property at their own free will. If the property owner declines this offer, then the subject property is condemned. No, it doesn't mean that the government expresses complete disapproval. It's not that kind of condemnation. Condemnation is a legal proceeding. The condemnee, or the property owner, is entitled to just compensation based on the highest and best use of the subject property. Additionally, just compensation is based on the subject property's highest and best use, regardless of whether the property owner is actually putting that property to that highest and best use. Put differently, the property owner is going to be compensated based on the highest and best use, even if they're not using their subject property for that highest and best use. Condemnation has the potential to be a lightning rod of controversy, and this is generally because Americans typically don't like it when other people take their stuff. The condemnation process is highly complex and a fantastic source of lasting appraisal work for a skilled practitioner. Police power is the third stick reserved by the government and is defined in the Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal as the inherent power of government to regulate property in order to protect public health, safety, and general welfare. No, it's not the power of the police as in the men and women in uniform. This power allows the government to regulate real property for the greater good. Unlike eminent domain, which focuses on a specific property, police power focuses on a specific area of properties. The four guiding principles involving police power include: it is intended to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. It must be applied and regulated in a non-discriminatory manner. It should not negatively impact the value of a particular property to such a degree that it constitutes confiscation. And finally, it should provide a benefit to the public. Police power may include a comprehensive plan for the following elements: land use, such as zoning; transportation, such as highways, roadways, parking, public transportation, and pathways; housing needs, such as regulating the density of single-family and multifamily developments and senior housing; energy conservation, such as renewable energy projects and green developments; and finally, community facilities, such as schools, libraries, waste management, police and fire stations, hospitals, utilities, and other public facilities. Zoning is defined in the Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal as public regulation of the use of private land through application of police power, accomplished by establishing districts or areas with uniform requirements relating to lot coverage, setbacks, type of improvement, permitted activities, signage, structure height, minimum lot area, density, landscaping, and other aspects of land use and development. Zoning regulations are established by enactment of a local, city, town, or county zoning ordinance. Zoning typically presents itself as a zoning ordinance, which is determined by local laws and comprehensive plans. A zoning ordinance can regulate development in the following ways: building use, such as building codes that regulate construction and renovation, building height, building appearance, natural resource protection, permitted land uses such as agriculture, residential, commercial, industrial, mixed use, and public use, setbacks, lot size, and development density. As I'm sure you can tell, zoning and land use can be extremely complex. For example, in San Diego, which is my hometown, a property can be regulated with a general plan designation, a base zone, a community plan designation, zoning overlays, and other regulations. Depending on the intended use of the appraisal, the appraiser may want to consult with a subject matter expert who specializes in zoning and land use. Escheat is the third stick reserved by the government and is defined in the Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal as the right of government that gives the state titular ownership of a property when its owner dies without a will or any ascertainable heirs. For those of you who don't frequently use the word titular, it just means having the title of something. Escheat is not exactly a restriction, rather it is a way for the government to obtain privately owned property under these unique circumstances. The intent is to prevent real property from being outright abandoned because there's nobody on title. Escheat affects both personal property as well as real property. When a property owner dies without a valid will, this is called intestate. When a property owner dies intestate and there are no heirs to be found, the property escheats to the state. Each one of these controls can be a huge source of real property appraisal work. To recap, the purpose of this video was to describe in detail the 4 governmental controls on ownership and also describe briefly the bundle of rights in real estate. For a more detailed description on the bundle of rights in real property, you're encouraged to watch a dedicated video on this topic, and I'll include a link at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you would like to show your support, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.